Nah. Welcome to the Freedom for Felons episode 12 with our guest host Troy Razor Robinson and my guest co-host Swizzy.
Yay, Swizzy in the building. What's going on, world?
Hey, already know. So today's guest is gonna cover a lot. You know, we're talking about black ownership, entrepreneurship, black fatherhood, just leadership, community leadership, and just want to welcome you to the show, bro. Like,
Thank you.
You know, from a distance, like I've definitely been seeing what you've been doing, and I respect it 100%. You know, and I just want to, make it a thing that like when we see each other out here, like as entrepreneurs, as brothers, you know what I mean, that we come together because it's enough people against us, you know what I mean? So it's like, why wouldn't we be together? You know what I mean? Because we definitely share the same interests and the same goals. So
before the interview gets started, I want to give y'all flowers. Like, I've caught all 11 episodes. You know, most of the time I go back through and I listen to them more than once because I get something every time, right? And y'all should be, at the whole community should be rallying behind what you are doing, because not only are you shedding light on a industry that has been silenced, once we get that F on our record, but also y'all are empowering people. So, y'all deserve y'all flowers before this ever gets started.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I definitely appreciate
that 100%.
That's definitely our goal with what we're doing is to try to shed light on stuff that has been silenced or been dimmed and all of that type of stuff. So definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, just seeing other people doing it, you know what I mean? People of your kind and that look like you, you know what I mean? It's definitely important, and that's why like I focus mainly like with the podcast more on YouTube because the visual is important. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
representation.
Yeah. That representation, documentation, all of that is important for us to be able to see ourselves in somebody else and be able to do something else. And that's why I was like, I would hear you on the radio show and I'd be like, okay, yeah.
Talking crazy.
Nah, he different though. Yeah. That's you. I mean, and then, it'll all put itself in perspective when it's all done. But it was like, like, I feel like we'll find our way, like what's best for us. But it was important for you to have a role, like in that space, in the radio space, and just being on there, and for people to hear like, oh, like he might be talking a little crazy, but like we could relate to him.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean. So the relatability is important too.
Thank you, man.
You know what I mean? Like
that's the essence of communication. For real.
And being yourself.
Making to relate to somebody you communicating to, whether it be through radio, through YouTube, whatever platform. You know what I'm saying? Making your content relatable is how you communicate to whoever's viewing it or listening. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I agree with you with the YouTube thing. And I really think that's more generational because that relates to the youth a lot more is the visual. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They really trust more than what they can see than what they hear. You know what I'm saying? They more adapt to 100%. That. So, but like us, our age, like we, the radio is what we, boombox and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? We can visualize when we hear. Yeah, so you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got the best of both worlds on that.
We did. Like our generation really got, you know what I mean?
And we still got it. That's the great part.
When you were talking, and then you joined in, is that one thing that I know I struggled with coming out of prison and trying to do better in life was imposter syndrome. I didn't know if I was still supposed to be the gangster that led me there, or if I was supposed to be this good person that showed I was reformed when I really wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like mentally, I think I was state struck. And in a short period of time. So like, if I'm honest,
I'm gonna have to pause you on that. You done went right into it. But that's what just makes it like I know that you was ready. You came ready. You know what I mean? And that makes it even better. You know what I mean? But I do want to just take a time to rewind and want to just first like kind of give your introduction to those that don't know, to our viewers, you know, like how you came up, your upcoming and all of that. So like how was your household? Like did you come up with a mother and a father in the house? It's gonna be a little loaded, you know what I mean? But like, did you come up with a mother and a father in the house? Like, how many sibling type? You know, what was your whole come up like?
All right, this is gonna make a lot of people upset. In the area that I come from, I was either number one or number two most affluent black family in our area. I slept on a waterbed from the age of 11 until I was 18. It was just me, my mom, and my dad. They bought their house 2 years before they had me.
Only son.
Only child.
Only child.
Yep, only child. If I looked at it, my daddy bought it. I didn't even have to ask. So my childhood was great. I have a childhood to where if I described it, you would think I was white. You know?
And let's just pause right there. Yeah. Right? Because like, why wouldn't we want you to have the best childhood ever? Right? Well, just for people, like, you know, like you want something, but sometimes we could want something so much that it can make us hate something.
Well, I say that because to go through and do the things that I did, I had no reason to. My father gave me, I was born in 74. So once I turned 9 years old, I wanted to start cutting grass to make money. My dad felt it was disrespectful to him for his son to be working and not being a kid. So at the age of 8, 9, my dad gave me $100 a week as allowance back then.
Yeah, but you say you had no reason, but you know, there was a reason. There was an underlying reason.
I enjoyed it.
And I think, and I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm just saying, like, when you said, like, most people would be mad, are you thinking or talking about the people that would say that they came from a struggle and ended up in a situation that you might have ended up in? Or are you just saying as in a whole? Because if you're talking about, you know, people that's like-minded, peers, people that's been through the same thing you've been through, I feel that like when you go through a certain thing, everything is purpose. You know what I mean? Like, it's a reason behind that is what I'm saying. And so like your reason may have been to touch somebody else that might have been like you
at this point,
or could relate to you 100%, but maybe you can't, or you can relate to somebody that's been through more than you. You know what I mean? So I think it's important that we don't really like to minimize our struggles and the things that we went through to become who we are, because I think for somebody that's going to be life-changing, and if it's life-changing and that's what we're trying to do, you know what I mean, it's all hitting the target. So I just want
to touch on that. I do agree with what you're saying. I think that there was a point, because I had no siblings, I was trying to fit in with my friends, even though I was the leader of my friends. I was always trying to be whatever they needed me to be, instead of who I just wanted to be, was somebody who laughed, joked, fished, rode dirt bikes. That's all I wanted to be, right? So when I say people would be upset, most of us know after being incarcerated, all we want is an opportunity and a chance. I was afforded that from the day I was born. And yet I still made decisions that, when I thought I was trying to protect somebody else, ultimately took my own life from me. You know what I'm saying? So until people hear my actual story, they'll be like, he had no reason to. Why would you do this? You had these type of parents. You lived this type of life. You had no reason to. But I did, so to speak. You know, what I could justify in my own mind, I guess I should say.
Nah, I feel you.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that my upbringing was like that smooth, but in my household, I got the same treatment type of thing. Like if I looked at it, I got it from whoever was around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was like surrounded by more family as far as like aunts, and they lived in the house with me, and my uncle lived in the house with me, my grandma, but I was the only like child in the house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like boom, 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 like always.
Yeah.
And I feel like that created the beast that turned into going out there doing them things, because it made me a person that wanted shit when I wanted it.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm
We
saying?
don't
And
like
I
no.
seen that avenue as the best way to get shit when I wanted it.
Yeah. Yeah. We
You
don't
know
like
what
to
I'm
be
saying?
told no when you like the only child.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Make it
Like,
happen.
you know what I'm saying? And when my sister came around, like she was more on the other side because we got different dads and shit. So it was just really me. My mom had me when she was young, so the family just raised me and gave me everything.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And that created the person that always got to get some shit when I want some shit. You know what I'm saying? I got to do this when I want to do it. I'm impatient
Greedy
because
American.
you know what I mean? It just that ball that from a child that ball start getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
You got to
and
fulfill
heavier
it.
and heavier, and you got to
gonna
be able to keep
fulfill
picking that shit up. You know what I'm
You're
saying?
the first
Creative
person
too?
that actually understand what I went through as a kid.
Yeah.
To that teenage years of. You're the first person that related back to me.
Yeah.
Let me say that.
Okay.
Is that you understand, like when I'm used to getting what I want,
I was like
is
that too.
disrespectful in a
was like that
sense.
too.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because now I gotta
I was
figure out a way to
spoiled.
get it. You know,
I ain't gonna lie.
for some it was, the pistol. For some it was drugs. For others it was stealing. Whether you know what I'm saying, you get into
Everything.
It don't
the mindset
even matter
of-
because
as long
once
as
you
I
get
end up
into
with what I
that
want.
jumbo pot,
It's
you
everything in there. You gonna
figure
skim
it out.
across something every time, something
You gonna
different. You
figure
skim
it
across
out,
this,
though.
skim across
Yeah.
that. You feel me? It's like that did resonate with me because it really made me realize that I did have that same situation. It just looked different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even though we were in even though where we lived at wasn't like more like we didn't own the houses and stuff, but we did start off in like Garrett Square and Prospect, and then we ended up moving to Longwood. Then we moved to better neighborhood. Like we was in good neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my thoughts became combative once I started to go with my pops, a nigga that just had got out of jail.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Mindset,
it was like,
right.
yeah, yes
Yeah,
sir,
but
no
his-
sir, nigga.
yeah.
Nah, nigga, some Jordans. Nigga, you better go to A and get some Adidas. You know what I'm saying? Type shit like, nah, we ain't doing that. I don't even know where, you know what I'm saying, that come into play at type shit, and it made me start. It changed my way of thinking. Yet and still, I still was out there, but I was just implementing that way of thinking to that shit I was
Yeah.
doing. You know what I'm saying? And it like, but at the same time, my mind always in the back was like, it's some shit back here, like you can figure some other shit out, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
creative.
yeah,
Like,
it's-
creative mindset.
It's crazy. Like we discussed, we had like a little bit before we came on the air. We started recording. You said like it's organic, like our conversations or whatever. And I feel like it's because of the relatability. Like I said, like you got to relate to who you communicating to, and like how you brung that, and it made me realize something. Every time we do a show, I realize something else about myself.
Yep.
That's why I really enjoy the platform. You know what I'm saying?
The radio has been therapy for me.
Yeah.
Right? Especially the Christian talk show that I do,
Mm-hmm.
because I had questions. I didn't go to church. I only went to church on Easter, and that's because Grandma made us. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't go no other time. Like my father was made to go to church his whole life, so he didn't make me go. He wanted me to go when I knew it was serious, like what God was about. He was that way.
Yeah.
I thought when I was a kid that like Dad just don't like God.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that. He knew that God wasn't to be played with. And he didn't want me following up there getting baptized just because my older cousins went. Okay. He wanted me to know what I was doing. So even when I went to prison, I didn't accept God then. I studied a couple different religions. I ended up landing on Christianity after I had questions that resonated with me. You know what I'm saying? And then there was so many similarities to like the Muslim faith and Christianity that the only difference was Jesus, who Jesus was in my mind.
Yeah.
Right? And then I was like, okay, I became I lean more to the Christian. I look at Louis Farrakhan, look at like constantly, but I landed on being a Christian because I was like, okay, if you're saying that he is the high prophet, then why not believe who he said that he is? And that was what I was able to land on for myself to say, okay, well, if you're saying he's all these things, then I'm going to believe him. And then that's how I landed on Christianity. And then that's where I put my focus at. Yep.
Respect.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, like, I'm a spiritual person, but I'm not religious.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Me, myself, I'm religious.
Standing on that.
I'm Muslim, you know what I'm saying? I strive to do what I'm supposed to do every day as a Muslim man, you know what I'm saying? But I respect anybody's decision when it comes to their spirituality, whether it be Christianity or whether it be my brother that believe in God wholeheartedly, but he not putting a label on what his belief system is.
Absolutely.
I have respect for that because I know what faith has done for me. You know what I'm saying? If you believe in something, if your faith is there with that, I know how I can change you. To believe in something higher than you. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
To move in step with something that already has your plan aligned.
Beautiful.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, so I'm never a judgmental person or try to do this or that because somebody's belief system is different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just praise our people even getting into a spiritual realm and indulging in belief. You know what I'm saying? I'm because I went to church as a kid. What's one thing my grandma did have me do? The church every Sunday with these white people. I was like the only black kid in there.
Gotcha.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But they were serious about religion. It introduced me to religion. It introduced me to God. You know, so from a young age, I had that belief in God. I would say from like 6 or 7. Because from that age till about 13, I went to church every Sunday. Them people used to come in the projects and pick me up. In the van.
The vans.
Ready.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was gone. They brought me back like. And I always look at like everything happens for a reason or whatever. And I just look at them times of how I am now, and how comfortable I am around people that don't look like me. You know what I'm saying?
My youngest kids are like that, right?
The journey is different, too. Like, it really do be different, and we don't really, a lot of people don't really understand or think about that a lot of the times. You know what I mean? Not it's a good thing because,
it's a great thing.
Like, at the end of the day, like, no matter how much we, like, what the past might have brought and what it was, you know, there are people out here that genuinely, like, from different races, you know, and ethnicities, like, that really genuinely care about each other. Don't matter, like, it, even if, like, when it comes to religion, that was one of the strongest things I've seen, like, with different cultures, like with the Muslim religion. You know what I mean? Different cultures coming together. Yeah, Christianity too, because you got black and you got white, you know. But just coming together, all together, it just shows, you know what I mean, for one God, ultimately. You know what I mean? And so
did you go to churches or anything as a kid?
Yeah, I did. I definitely did. You know what I mean? It was a time where it just stopped, and I was just like, it didn't matter to me at that time. And I will say, like, for me, like, honestly, my experiences, I'm not saying it was bad all the time. It was good a lot of the time, but I saw that, like, hypocritical type of stuff. And I was young then, and then when I started seeing, like, comedians joke about that stuff or whatever, during my, you know, coming up, I was like, yo, that's real. And that's how it made me part even more. So, like, my family got old, my grandmother got older or whatnot. We were in there. I don't know what happened, but it just stopped happening at a young age. You know what I mean? I remember when we used to go, I would walk and go to church every maybe not every Sunday, but Sundays or whatever. But in my family, like they're very entrenched on my mother's side, was entrenched into the church stuff. But see, that's the thing. It's like everybody don't really talk about that neither. It's like two sides. Like you can have your family here, you can have your family there,
true.
and then you're on one side trying to figure yourself out and trying to, you know what I mean, fit in, but you the outcast because the whole time the family know that your dad like this and your family over here really like this. Yeah. So like we gonna rock with you because you family, but at the same time you could feel that separation.
When I was a kid,
like I went through that.
When I was a kid, I didn't have any God. Like I didn't. After I got older, you can look back and like put check marks on your life with it. I didn't have any God. Like I can honestly say that Grandma had a God, my aunt had a God. That was for them. But for me, there was no praying except for sports. You say the Lord's Prayer before a game or something like that. But I was just going through the motions. Like when I look back, like I had zero relationship. I had zero fear. I had zero reference for God.
And what age frame would you say that would be? Because you say you grew up with it, right? So let's
it was around me.
Let's keep that, in the conversation. Because I think, I just think, I know, like, it's a big disconnect in this generation, right? So we might be dealing like I might be dealing like how I'm dealing, like, so the kids gonna pick up on that sometimes too. And so I think it's important for our viewers to really think about, like, all right, is what I'm doing causing my kids, you know what I mean, to look at this differently, that differently, or how are they operating? Because when you operating ungodly, you're demonizing.
That was me.
That was, exactly.
That was 100% me as
like
a kid.
100%. The reason why we do everything we do is to make sure that people can understand and see where we came from. You know what I mean? In that type of mindset or whatnot. So again, before we go a little bit deeper, I want to, like, did you said your father? I definitely heard your father and your mother presence, but and you were a single child. But your grandparents, did you get a chance to be around them?
We'll start with my mom's side. My grandfather died when my mom was 13, so I never had a chance to meet him. And then my grandmother was there up until I was in my 20s.
So did you have your grandfather on your dad's side?
My grandfather on my dad's side, my family gonna hate me when I tell this story, but it's the truth. My grandfather, my dad's dad, married a Native American, 100% Indian.
Yeah.
My family on my dad's side is from the Ivory Coast. So they felt that Granny is what they called her. I never got a chance to meet her. Granny felt that my grandfather had married beneath himself because he married a Native American. My grandfather got shipped off to Vietnam. He had my aunt BJ and my dad. While my grandmother, who was a nurse, went off to work, my granny called social services and told them she found 2 kids on the steps. So then they took my dad and my aunt into social services, right? They got shipped from D.C. down to Orange County, Virginia, staying with a foster family. My grandfather comes back home from Vietnam, asks his mom, where's my wife, where's my kids? He been sending money home, he been writing letters. She told him that she ran off with some man with the kids and they're gone. Whole time, all his letters she had put inside of a brick on the fireplace. All his money, all his letters, everything, right?
Wow.
Nobody in the family ever said anything until she closed her eyes, and then they exposed all the truth. So the grandparents that I grew up with, Boots Johnson, Wyman, right? That was granddaddy, you know what I'm saying? And then Grandma Edna Johnson, they lived right next door to us, right? My grandmother, God, my family, man. My grandmother that I knew of on my dad's side, she would adopt kids for money. That was her reason for doing it. They had their own kids, but they adopted kids for money. Now, is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Now, when it came along to the grandkids, she took good care of us. But for my dad and his other siblings that were adopted, my dad always felt that, you know what I'm saying, like he never belonged. She made it known that you'd be nowhere if it wasn't for me. You know what I'm saying? Granddaddy wasn't like that, though. He treated them all the same as what my dad said. You know, so at this age, I only had one grandparent, my grandmother, you know, the adopted ones. I'm not knocking anybody that do adopt, but even though Granddaddy Boots and Grandma treated me good, because you treated my dad bad, I ain't got no time for you. My dad's real grandmother, who called and gave him up, you know, I'm 52 now. I was probably 48, 49 before I decided, okay, now I say this because I was living a different life. I was like, all right, I can't wait to die and go to hell so I can punch on the face. You know, that was my mindset. Like, I can't wait because there's so much that my family probably wouldn't have went through that had she not decided that my grandmother was beneath her because she was Native American. Now, unpack that statement. I had already decided I was going to hell. Without question.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At a younger age, I had made that peace. I wasn't looking to go to heaven. You know, because I wanted to do whatever it is I wanted to do. I wasn't going to.
You gave up.
I wasn't going to plan. Well, it wasn't even giving up. I never started the hope. True. If that makes sense. Like, I never had a situation and said.
You gave up without knowing you gave up, though.
Never even, like I said, God wasn't part of my life. You know what I'm saying?
I can definitely.
He became a huge part of my life because of me and him having a relationship. Him showing me that something else has to have dominion over my life.
That's important.
So when I found God, it wasn't in the midst of going to court. I wasn't in no bad situation. I wasn't hurt, shot, none of that stuff. I had money in my pocket. I had a nice car. Had a nice girlfriend at the time. Had my Steve Harvey 2 for $99 suits on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was doing good. And then God decided to show up with just me and him and let me know that for me, he was real.
I do want to say, like, it's a lot to, like, so, you know, relationships, generational, all that, because that's really what we're doing it for, the next generation, you know, but just normalizing and humanizing ourselves is a part of this podcast, and just understanding, like, for myself, like, my father, when I was young, probably the first 4 or 5 years in my life was there. Not too many of us remember how vivid that type of memory is anyway. You know what I mean? But I do, like, try to put things in perspective, and a lot of the reasons why he wasn't the person or the man that I needed him to be. You know what I mean? And I do know, like, he didn't have his own mother when he was born. You know what I mean? And it's still a lot that I'm still trying to learn and figure out, but I know that his father wasn't there fully either. So he was taken in by his aunt, you know what I mean? And that was his mom or whatnot. And then my grandmother passed away a couple years ago. My father lives in Miami. He's from Trinidad and Tobago, just to give a little context. But like, some certain things that you said kind of made me think about that, you know what I mean? And just us understanding our parents' past has a lot to do with how we carry ourselves and conduct ourselves, and what we want in our kids' life and what we don't want, because the lack of having that made me want to be there even more. And then, you know, the realization of me becoming incarcerated and not being able to be that what I thought and said I was before I even planted that seed, you know what I mean, is a real thing too. So just, like, you know, just wanted to touch on that real quick. Did you say, I know you're giving us, you know, a little background history, but did you say exactly where you were born and raised?
I was born in Mary Washington Hospital in Fredericksburg, Virginia. I was raised in Orange County, right between my family was the slaves that mixed with the Indians on that part. So right when you come out of Fredericksburg, you got Chancellor. From the Battle of Chancellor all the way to Germanna River, like where Culpeper starts, that was what we owned, that whole thing right there. So we actually, up here, y'all have a place called Lake Monticello.
Yeah.
And down there, you got a place called Lake of the Woods. My family sold Lake of the Woods to Lake of the Woods. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't have acres, we had miles.
That connection is crazy, that Indian connection, too. Yeah.
Like, and it's real, but it's so difficult to understand because it's been whitewashed so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm running around still by government standards, Native American ancestry. You know, by my look, I look more like granddaddy. So y'all, it's people that's running around here that y'all call chief and whatnot, Indians. Those are my first cousins. Those are my crazy. He got, I ain't gonna tell you business, cuz, but he got shipped down here to Charlottesville with his daddy from Baltimore, and he ain't got no hair on his face. He ain't got, you know, he got that whole look. That's my blood cousin. Clean. You know what I'm saying? Like if, and I'm running around looking at like movies and stuff like this, looking at the white men painted red, thinking that's what a Native American look like, not realizing that my grandmother, uncles, all of them is on Indian reservations because the people that raised me were black. Yeah. So I'm not thinking until I found a picture of my dad and my aunt sitting on this real beautiful lady's lap. I'm like, man, who is this? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then my dad walks off. Looked at mama like, what'd I say? That's your grandmother. My grandma ain't look like this. No, that's your dad's real mama. Yeah. Where's she at? We don't know. Can you stop talking about it? What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So my dad never dealt with the trauma of that situation. Yeah. You know, so he held it for me. So when I started searching and I did find my family, he came to me. I was so excited, dude. I'll never forget. I was at the kitchen table. And when I walked back in, I had met some of them. They working at the White House. They doing all these great things, right? Like, I'm on fire now, right? This after prison. They wanted to meet me. They had wanted to reach out to my daddy and never reached back. I walked in right when I was getting ready to talk. He put his hand on the table and said, look, whatever you found out, that's for you. Don't bring that to me, and walked off. What do you say with that? Like, so I wasn't mad, I wasn't hurt, it locked me up. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't found our family. Like, I'm not realizing that their last name is Johnson, my last name is Robinson, but these are my grandparents. Like, it never resonated to me that my dad was adopted until I got older, because it just wasn't, you know, the African American family. Most of us are combined families anyway. Absolutely, yeah. Mom and dad is not mom and dad of everybody in the household. Nah. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got some secrets or some bad relationships or something. So it never resonated to me that I had so many cousins that were Johnsons, but I was a Robinson. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And but then come to find out, they ended up being kin to me on my mom's side. But they were like my dad's cousin. They was my dad's first cousins and stuff like that. It was a crazy mess, man. So family, then I went into a period of, I don't know who I am. Yeah. Like, so then I'm going to be the first of my, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to reason all this stuff from my mind because I had no discipleship to help me navigate my feelings.
And I think that's the sense, I ain't mean to cut you off. That's just like the sense of humanization, like sense of belonging. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody want to feel like they're a part of something.
Yeah, even if it's something negative.
Even if it's something negative, they got to know, at least, to know what they don't want to be a part of.
Yeah. People definitely are attracted to being a part of something. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like when you 100%. Said that, I was just computing everything you said with your pops. You know what I'm saying? And how he, like, just said, don't, that's for you type of thing, right? Yep. And I just look at, in that era, you said you 52. Mm-hmm. So your pops, in the era he came up in, the way they buried stuff, like the effort they put into they buried shit.
Yeah, in plain sight.
You know what I'm saying? The generation before us, they buried shit, like, and I feel like Like I would have been like you. I probably would have locked up if he told me some, like my pops told me something in that situation.
Yeah.
But looking at it now, I just feel like it took so much of him to bury that shit that he ain't want to have nothing to do with it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My dad was a very prideful man.
Yeah.
Right? But as I got older, I realized it was nothing more than smoke and mirrors. He was a hurt little kid behind all them muscles, behind all them cars. My dad, we did a count. He didn't have nothing as a kid. He would get, my mom told me that my grandparents would buy him one truck for Christmas and buy their kids all this stuff. My dad ended up, last count that we had, my dad ended up owning 32 cars. His cars was his toys. And he treated them like better than he treated me in my mind at that time. Like he always took care of his car. His cars were immaculate. If you bought a used car for my dad, you wanted that. But nobody could understand that because he didn't have nothing coming up as a kid, that was his everything.
That's important. You know what I mean? That perspective, you know what I mean, on a lot of us as men just get lost in our childhood. I was having this conversation with somebody recently, and it was just like people that had like, so you got people that been locked up since they was 12, 14 years old. That we all know somebody that was like that. Then you got a lot of people that was between 14 to 17 or whatever. They might have been in or out or however their situation. Then you got people that become adults, you know what I mean? Or like young adults, because at 18, you're not an adult, you know what I mean, 100%. But it's just like that system is ever evolving, right? So it keep catching people. So if you just stuck in that system and you just spend a couple months out, not even a year, or maybe you spend a year out, or maybe 2. But we know like it takes a while for things, for change, to unlearn certain things, to go through all of that. You know what I mean? So like we're gonna touch a little bit on that, but it's just like, just because we're in the essence of what we're talking about, it's like so many people miss their childhoods.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like their childhoods is so much trauma behind it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They're still trying to find a way to live through it at a certain part in their life. You know what I mean? I just felt like necessary to interject and just say that. You know what I mean? But when was the first time somebody close to you, or somebody close to you was incarcerated, and how did that kind of affect you and make, like, what was your outlook on how jail or prison could be for yourself?
Cousin on my mom's side, my uncle, his brother-in-law, right? We all were together, like, you know, all, like when I went to Culpeper, stay with that family, like we all were together. I call him my Uncle Daryl.
How old were you then?
Oh, he was young.
No, how old were you?
Oh, I was young. He was
like under 12.
Yeah, but there was a jail in Richmond called 500 Spring Street. He was killed in 500 Spring Street in a gang fight, and he had so many. He was in and out his whole life, juvenile, all that. Like it was just what he did, right?
And he was from Richmond?
No, Culpeper.
Richmond was like the state jail.
Yeah, that was the state jail. Like he could rumble. Like he was one of them ones. Like he could rumble. He could fight. Like
a state jail is crazy. Though.
Right there on
no,
Spring
just
Street.
saying that though. Right like, now, putting it in perspective. But when you put it in perspective, you think about all these different jails now. But just a state jail. Like I heard about Richmond jail. You know what I mean, Spring Street and all of that. But just to think that for Virginia as a whole, which got the most penitentiaries and everything, it's just that's crazy.
They said if they knocked the wall down, it was bodies
inside the wall. No, real talk.
And that's the one they called the wall.
Yeah. That junk was rough. And
you know, it's a couple of old heads still talk about that.
500 Spring Street. I was locked up. Not to jump, but I was locked up with a dude that was his cellmate. And then he was like, when he started talking to me, he was like, man, Derek, man, that was my man, blah, 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 this, that, and that. Dude was named, what do you call him? Shorty Dog. That was his name from Richmond. He shot somebody in the face. Yeah. And like he he was cold, you know what I'm saying? But he loved my uncle. And he said, man, when they got him, they shut the doors and we couldn't get to him to help him. He said, man, he fought, and then another one came, and then they got the best of him. And then when the people embalmed him, I remember them saying he fought for his life. He had so many cuts on his hands, arms, everything. When they were putting in the embalming fluid, it was just running out his body.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It was like he fought. Like, he said, man, there was no way we knew one person couldn't beat him.
It ain't gonna happen.
He was that person.
Yeah.
Like, he was that one. So he was the first one that I was like, I understood that you could die when you went to jail. Like somebody
to
getting
see
locked
somebody
up.
that tough,
Yeah.
that manner.
Yeah.
That gotta be effective.
He
though.
was that it made me to where me and my cousin Tony, who was like my brother, more than a cousin, it made us to where, especially me, because I'm the baby on both sides. I'm the baby boy on both sides, right? It made me to where I wasn't gonna let nobody hurt me. Like, I was not gonna let nobody hurt me. Like, I ended up.
And how long did it take you to really realize that, though? But I want to hear where you ended up, but I just want to know, like, you think you were feeling like realizing that from then, or just like you were just acting out then, then realizing later?
No. I realized it because I was the only child. So, because they lived in Culpeper, I lived in Orange. When things came, I ain't had nobody to run home to, so I couldn't run. Like, I had to take whatever came.
You realized it then?
Yeah, I realized like I have to take care of myself, right?
Yeah.
So I remember.
So that segues into, like, when was your first time, like, being incarcerated for something that you did then? You know what I mean?
I only got the one. Well, no, I got some after that, but that was I had graduated high school. I was
at that time.
No. I was 8 years old then.
Yeah, so
So when I was 18, I graduated high school. I was going to Jamz Community College trying to get my SATs up. I was going to Fort Union Military Academy to play football. You know, then I was going on to Georgia Tech. My SATs were real low. So I'm down there, and a kid who I grew up with came to me and was like, hey, man, we're trying to get some stuff to party, yada, yada, yada. I was a good kid. I never even missed a day of school. Like, I was a good kid, per se.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, let me call, he said, man, call your cuz for me. And I was like, you just called. But I knew this person, right? So then I was like, hey, cuz, they want such and such and such. That wasn't my thing. I wasn't doing anything.
And this is how old?
Oh, 18. Okay. I just graduated. So I graduated in May.
After school.
So this was right after. This was in the summer. Because I'm trying to get my SATs up. Yep. Yeah. And so I could play football. Like, my path is set. You know what I'm saying? I got a job at Bell Atlantic, being an outside lineman. You know what I'm saying? I was a good kid. Like, I didn't do nothing to nobody fight. We go to the club and fight and stuff like that. But that was it. And my cousin was street smart. All of them were very street smart. And he was like, you go ahead and take it to him and pick up the money. All right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't care. I mean, I knew dude. I get back, and his uncle's with him. You know what I'm saying? So then he was like, hey, this is my uncle, this and that and another. All right, what's up, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, so then give him the stuff. I was like, man, just throw the money in the truck. I gotta go back to class. So we go through that. We do that a couple different times throughout a month or 3 months. It's my bad, cuz. Then the uncle is just showing up by himself without my friend. So I was like, I can just introduce you to my cousin. He said, yeah, just introduce you, because the undercover officer realized I wasn't a bad kid.
Yeah.
So he was trying to get me out of the picture immediately. His superiors was like, no, focus on him and then make him turn on everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't that I didn't know what everybody was doing. I mean, I watched them my whole life. I had a good life. They did crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? So when oh God, it was me, my boy Sammy. We went from Jamz Community College over to a little store over there. I got a ham and cheese sandwich, some Pringles, a Rock Creek soda, right? Sammy got 2 Slim Jim. I remember like it was yesterday, right? We go over to the store. I ain't have nothing on me then. So we had rode over there in my truck my dad had bought me. You know, I had a truck ever since I was 16 years old. Brand new off lot. You know what I'm saying?
It's different.
Yeah, dude, like it was different. I operated like I was white, you know what I'm saying, so to speak. And I come out of the store. This white guy had Sammy by the back of his shirt, slamming his head into the telephone booth. The ones, not the ones you got inside, but remember the silver.
I just seen one of them earlier. I showed my daughter, like, that's what people used to talk to when they didn't have a cell phone.
With quarters in your pocket. Yeah. Look, wearing his head out on that thing. I mean, wearing him out. So I drop my food. I go running over there to help. And all of a sudden, boom, I get hit inside the head, right? So I drop to the ground. And then I'd never see it coming or nothing. So then, you know, he gets on top of me and it had rained and it was oil in the thing. And he puts the gun in the back of my head and pushes my face down the oil and was like, don't move. Like, so I'm trying to figure out, like, it ain't registering that these police officers, right? Yeah. So then they pick us up, Sammy bleeding, we standing up there, and then he just starts macing me in my face. You know what I'm saying? So then by that time the state trooper pulls up. State trooper runs over there. Was like, man, what are you doing? Like, the state trooper came to my aid. So I'm trying to figure out what in the world going on. So he turned the AC on and got my face up against the thing, trying to cool off the mace. That joint burning like I don't know what, right? Yeah. Sammy, he crying. The officer actually put me in the front of the car. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Not both of us in the back, because he was like, man, nah, that ain't right. He said, man, what are you doing? Y'all shouldn't be doing this, that, and other. So I'm talking like I don't know nothing about no keep silent, none of that. Like, I was not no bad kid.
That's why he was by design. Like, come on, get in the front. Like,
yeah, but no, he genuinely went and told them that no, those officers attacked those kids because we was both 18 years old. He was like, Sammy hadn't done it. Sammy didn't do nothing wrong. He had a nice car.
Totally separate from them.
Yeah, we was. Yeah, it was bad. So then when they took me into jail, and then they gave me my bond. It was $100,000 back then. I didn't want to call my mom and dad. Called my aunt of my cousin, and I told her my bond. She was like, "Who you killed?" I never forget it. She said, "Who you killed? I ain't killed nobody. I ain't did nothing." You know, blah blah blah, this and another. And then, long story short, they wrote out my whole statement. All I had to do was sign my name. It was 18 of my cousins and family and friends that they were going to prosecute. And then it was like, you know, we'll ship you off to Fort Union Military Academy. Just gone. And I wouldn't do it. So then they focused all their efforts on me, and they had to let go of 18 people and then just prosecuted me. But I hadn't actually done anything. I just wouldn't tell. Yep. So when I first gave me, they gave me 100 years, and I wouldn't talk. So when I went to jail, they had actually given me 54 years, and I still wouldn't talk. You know what I'm saying? And I did something wrong because I was the one that transporting the stuff, but I wasn't doing nothing.
Your intent wasn't wrong.
Yeah, I was just trying to help my boy who I went to school with. You know what I'm saying?
That's where a lot of shit get lost in the legal system for me. And you know the intent, like in a situation like that. Mm-hmm. You know the intent because you surveilling the situation. Yeah. So it should be proof of the intent. Yeah. You know it was no intent on my part. Yeah. To do that. You know my naivete and all that is involved. 18. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and to give a motherfucker 54 years when you know my intent wasn't to do that of what you prosecuted me for. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that shit insane, bro. You know what I mean? And it's sad to say I done heard this story before. Not like exactly your story, but somebody that was young, naive, and naive to that situation.
No, naive, period.
That too, you know what I'm saying? And get lined up like that and be in jail with a 30-piece for 3 grams of nothing or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and
it's too common of an occurrence.
Yeah, especially back then when they had the war on drugs.
Yeah,
so to speak.
it was ridiculous back
They
then.
to just to give you some more context to that whole thing. My mom and them, thank God, they had the resources that they did. They fought it. Took my case in front of Governor Wilder back then. So it was me and then a kid who I ended up knowing as Bubba Chuck, right? Y'all call him Al Navson, right? So he had to fight in the pool hall. I mean, in the bowling alley. And I had the case up here. And Governor Wilder gave him the pardon and said, man, I can't let a drug dealer go. I'm getting ready to go out of office. I was like, I didn't do anything. He's like, stop talking. Like, just stop talking. I'm not going to let him take your life from you. I just need you to understand that part right there. So then after that, I ended up getting 10 years, 24 months, ran concurrent, but I was under the 25%. So then I went up for parole in 18 months and got out in 21.
So what did you get sentenced to?
The initial, I got 54. And then Governor Wilder stepped in and did a sentence reduction while I was in there.
So when you went in, you had 54.
I had 54 years.
Yep. So how did that feel? Or how did that go for you? Like and
it was.
How long was it before you were able to get back in front of a court to even?
Never went back in front of court. Governor Wilder did all that stuff on his own. Like I never had to go back in front of the court.
How long did that process take?
A year. About a year, maybe 9 months. 9 months to a year.
So how was your mindset between that 9 months to a year, facing 54 years, and
my mindset, real talk, real honest God talk was, I'm gonna go in here, man, and either I'm gonna stay the rest of my life or I'm gonna die.
Because you were how old?
18.
18.
So all I heard about was the booty bandits and stuff like 18. That, right? Huh? I'm sorry.
Because you're going into jail because you're 18.
Yeah.
You're not going in no juvie.
Nah, yeah. Going in 18. Had just turned 18 May 15th. Got locked up November 26th or something right after Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? So and then got out on bond December 14th. Went back in on May 11th and then stayed until did my time and got out February 28th. Yep.
Yeah. And so it's a couple thoughts that come to mind when I said like, so how did it all end up serving you? You being solid, you not telling on your peoples, you know what I mean? And then like you facing that time. Of course, you could have been doing 56.
Yeah.
54.
54.
You could be doing 54.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, put that all in perspective now, for the viewers that might be watching. Like,
yeah.
Of course, we will say it's not worth it. But, like, how did that all impact you now to the man that you are now? Like, and kind of, I know that's a lot to put in perspective.
No.
All right, so first part is like you not conforming, you know what I mean, and how that was received, and when you came home, that actually worked for you.
Yeah, I came home a king, because everybody knew I didn't tell. You know what I'm saying? I came home a king. They had a, God rest his soul, me and Philip Newman came home around the same time, and they had a big party. And this was back in the days when they used to put the table out and everybody came bring you money and work and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I remember everybody walking off after a while. I took my arm and slid everything right over the fence. I slid, I don't really, I'm telling because he gone. You know what I'm saying? He gone now. I slid everything over his way. I said, man, you can have all this. He was like, man, you crazy. You can have all this. Like you know what I'm saying? I did time for not doing nothing. I'm not about to take this and do more, right? But the problem was I've always been fairly intelligent, right? Even when I made bad decisions, I came home a criminal. Like the places I was at.
Most of the time, that's what it does, and that's what a lot of people don't, because you're in there with more criminals.
Yeah,
you're in there with
stories.
Even whether you're a criminal or not, you in there with them.
It ain't just the
or
stories.
even if they not criminals.
as a human being,
it's that mindset.
As a person, as a intellectual, even a thinking person, like you said, intelligent person, you're gonna be a product of your environment, whether you like it or not.
And it's transferable. Like
you know what I'm saying? That's just like, I'm around my girlfriend every day. I be saying shit she be saying. Like little sayings and shit, because you a product of your environment, whether you like it or accept it or not. So being in them environments around like professional criminals, like niggas that are criminals for a living,
you start hearing the stories, you hear what they did wrong.
You just, it puts you there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so when you see
by default,
and then when you recognize that situation again, you see where you can do it better, or you see an opening for something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because now you're a professional criminal.
100%.
By relation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Nah,
like,
true.
like dead
it's
ass. Like,
reality.
I talk about this all the time. I just was telling you, I said they let my homeboy out Arizona or whatever. Like, the first time I was in, I did 10 years straight in the state. You know what I'm saying? For some bullshit too, like whole bullshit situation, but we ain't gonna get deep. But that's when I like harness and hone my criminal skills for real, without even knowing I was doing that shit. You know what I'm saying?
It's by default. You putting in there with them type of people.
It's basically just by design.
Yeah.
Like,
it's definitely designed.
Coming along, I thought about this the other day. That's why I like this platform, because I can just share my thoughts. You know what I'm saying? I thought about this the other day. As a kid, teenager, young adult, where I was cool with, I know I'm about to get locked up. Like, I was cool with that shit because this nigga got locked up. This nigga got locked up.
I was talking about that one time before. It's like almost like a whole...
Like, just every part of my life that was... whatever it was, I was cool with it because I was like, that's the way it's supposed to go.
It's conditioning.
That's the way it's supposed to go. That's the way it's supposed to go. But every time I go up there in front of this motherfucker, he give me 2 numbers.
Yeah, it's different.
You know what I'm saying? So I had to sit back and think like, they shit ain't going like that. Even though they go, even back to when I was going to juvenile, go upstate, get 1 to 2. 1 to 2. I get upstate, ain't no such thing as 1 to 2 no more. That shit starting at 6 to 9 months and 12 to 18. I'm like, how the hell this happened to me? Everybody else came up here, came right home. You know what I'm saying? But yet and still, I still thought that was the way it was supposed to be. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
I didn't have any of that though.
That's what I'm saying. That's why the paths is so different. But us as humans, being in them environments, it just penetrates you to the point where it's like numbing.
And but it's like you said, like I said by default, and I meant that, but it's by design for sure.
By design.
And then it's like, cause you know all of that was hit in your era, starting in your era, but then it's like, all right, the impact was us. You know what I mean? Us being affected and us going in, you know what I mean, for however much time and shit like that. Like that it's all by design. You know what I mean? But it's conditioning too. It's like, all right, well, once you see that somebody else has already been there, it's like, that ain't the worst thing in the world. Like, it could be when you find out. But when you don't know that right then and there, so you just like, oh, what you gonna do? Lock me up? All right, I'm over there with all my friends. I'm over there with everybody. Because it's that prison, high school pipeline. You know, the pipeline to prison.
Institutional pipeline.
Yeah, institutional all the way, 100%. 100%.
It's like, it's really like that system, right? To me, if something's a system, it shouldn't be able to be broken.
Right.
Because if it can be broken, they want a system from the beginning. Because the system runs in line. You might have a hiccup here, hiccup there, you know what I'm saying?
No, system or no system.
A system, but a system that's continually cracked, broke, this shit ain't right, that shit ain't right, let's try to fix this. It won't never a system to begin with. So it's really doing what it was designed to do. Be fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Put you in them situations and feed you and surround you and ingratiate all the BS in front of you until you think it's normal.
Because they want you to be cool with it.
Till you content with it.
You're okay
and
with it.
And then you try to move around it. Or go over top of it, like when you trying to change. You know what I'm saying? You trying to go around that shit. or go over top of that shit. But that shit wearing you out because you gotta take a long ass distance to get around all this bullshit over top of all this bullshit.
And then they take in when people come, like, you know, we've always been musical people.
Yeah.
Like, that's just regardless of what you're talking about. Gospel, blues, rap, whatever,
everything,
right?
yeah.
So then they take and they put the money into the ones who came out of prison, who's rapping about the life in prison or the drugs or the shooting or the beating women or whatever, right? So then this is the music that you're listening to. Because I know when we used to, it sounds crazy now, and I never would want any of my sons to be like this. I remember my dad was a boxer when I was a kid, right? And then he gave it up to raise me. Then he became a master mechanic and all this stuff, diesel mechanic and all that stuff, right? I remember putting on my clothes, looking in the mirror, seeing how I look while I'm fighting, right? That was my, I wanted the, you know, you had the Coca-Cola shirt, now the champion, all I'm trying to see, all right, man, yeah, if I hit a nigga like this, you know what I'm saying? All that type stuff, right? So then I remember when we were going to have problems with people, you would always put in certain music. You know what I'm saying? To get yourself amped up, right? But that was also not thinking that this is the music that they're putting out. They're not going to put out no uplifting roots, and they're not going to push things to you that tell you that you're more than, you know, you're a king and you're all. They weren't going to push that kind because the system, the racism, the Ku Klux Klan, all this type of stuff, like
classism,
the slave
everything.
trade to me is the juvenile domestic system. You come up on the block. They tell you how much your child is worth. They tell you how much you got to pay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it's still, it's just they renamed it.
It's all
but
slavery.
It's still the auction block for black men and their 100%.
Kids. Until you really realize how much a part you play in that, it determine how long you will, you know what I mean, ultimately contribute to that.
I wish our women understood it better. That. You know, because I think they got more of a handle on it now than they did back when they were really pushing it, is that you, in the attempts to rectify a failed relationship, you'll mess up your community by trying to get this guy back.
That's a fact.
Because our women were the heartbeat. You know, mama was everything.
They definitely
you know what I'm saying?
are. You gotta.
So I don't mean to cut you off, but
go ahead.
If you got a son and she's raising your son, and the son has to watch mama talk about how bad daddy is.
Yeah, facts.
And then you're trying to raise this kid and get him to understand that one day you're going to be me. Don't be so judgmental, because you might not stay with everybody that you get with. Like, most people get together because they sexually want each other, not because they, you know, I took the time to realize you're smart, you're intelligent, you got my back. I met your mom and your granddaddy. I courted you. I dated you. You know what I'm saying? That's not something that was pushed in my era, right? Yeah. But when you have lied to the girls just to get the draws, and then she feel used and abandoned, then you got some women that'll take you on child support. You had other women that would say somebody raped them. You know what I'm saying? Because all they had to say was like, he forced me. They didn't have to say you actually raped. That was enough to get. Now you got to prove your innocence, right? Because you hurt her. You don't, and you never gave her the time to express how she felt. You just cut her off that you ain't want to hear it. So we created a lot of bad dynamics in the black community.
That's a super
because
fact.
We had no discipleship from the older men to say like, no, don't lie to the girl. Be honest with her. You know, treat her like you treat your mama. You know, like, not sure. I know in the Christian religion they say, you know, treat your enemy like you would treat, you know, like God treated the church. And that's how you're supposed to love your enemy and everything, right? And any other religions tell you respect is key, number one, right? But I don't think me and my friends respected ourselves enough to know when we were doing damage to somebody else's child. And my first was a daughter. All the rules went out the window when I had my daughter. I didn't care what I did to these other women out here. This ain't happening to her. You know what I'm saying?
You had a daughter first, or like
first one?
Oh,
yep.
okay.
Yeah,
She
me
got
too.
my initials, everything. Like that was. I didn't know I had a
Mine
heart
too.
until I had her, and she was on the bathroom floor, thrown up in the toilet, and I'm laying on the floor with her, rubbing her back. Like it changed everything because now I had somebody. I would take a bullet for my friends. Well, let me re-say that. I wouldn't take a bullet for my friends. I would kill for my friends. My daughter, I was willing to kill for her and take a bullet for her if need be, if it meant to keep her from shedding a tear, much less getting hurt. You know what I'm saying?
And that's different.
And then I had to start realizing how much my dad loved me. He just didn't know how to show me because nobody showed him. So his way of showing me was to buy me stuff.
Yeah.
Because he didn't know nothing else. He didn't have nothing. So he gave me what he didn't have in his mind. And all I really wanted was him. You know?
And yeah, so how was your transition to Charlottesville, and like what really brought you here? What drew you here? And like just touch a little bit
my
on
wife.
that, if you go. Okay.
My wife, she went to Columbia School of Broadcasting, and when she finished, she had an idea to start her own podcast and a TV show. Well, y'all were just starting up a radio station, 101 Jamz, and she contacted the program manager.
That makes sense.
And he said, well, I got somebody you can talk to. If he wants you, I'll take you. It happened to be Charles Lewis, who she grew up with. So then we met Charles, and then we started In My Humble Opinion. She started In My Humble Opinion, and Charles and I were the support group for her, and then that became the flagship show for 101.3.
Because how long has that
years.
show? Yeah, 10 years. 10 years. Yeah, no, 100%. I salute and commend, In My Humble Opinion. You know, I listen when I'm riding. You know what I mean, and it's definitely soulful. You get that soulful feeling. It's intentional. It's just good interviewing and just like it's a good vibe. You know what I mean, especially for our people, and you know,
definitely it gives access.
It's that dialogue, everything, in the same thing that we're in the same sense of what we're trying to do is like continue to build something where people can get to know our people better, and you know, support them
in all facets, all that black media. Period. Like, you know,
That's
my
what
dad
Pops
was a
is,
big
100%.
proponent of black media. That was a dream of
I
his.
loved your dad.
Yeah, man.
You know?
That was a dream of his. It was a passion of his. I don't even know where it came from. He just told me one day, like, I'm going to start this newsletter. I said, man, nigga, what is a newsletter? What is a newsletter? He was like, this right here.
Right.
Yellow piece of paper, you feel me? So I love that we can do this. We have this platform. I love that In My Humble Opinion on the radio. I love Vinegar Hill has a physical periodical that people can read, or they can go online and subscribe. And like, I love that we have options for black media. I love we have options for ourselves. Not just black, just from our culture. I hate putting the black on it, even though, you know, that's what we are. But it's just our culture, man. Like, where we come from, our essence, from the people of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, that, because I know people in this culture and have this essence that not are necessarily black. They might have a mixed culture, a mixed cultural background. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't like to always say like black, but I just like to say our media, something for us to listen to, we can relate to. So definitely, and it's always, you know, it's always good when a woman can bring you into a situation like that. I know I'm strong and staunch on like support for women. You know what I'm saying? Like, from my grandmother to my mother to my I only have one sibling, a sister. I got 2 daughters. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm heavy with my female, and for like you said, your wife brought you to Charlottesville, to this situation, and it makes me reflect. Everything I do, like when I'm on here, I listen to our guests, and I just share my reflection of what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? And a woman has led me.
It'll always start from a strong woman.
They have led me. They've never like led me the wrong way. Like the strong women in my life, whether it be family, whether it be my partner, even my oldest daughter. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because she's a strong woman and very in tune with her feelings. You know, she's 26 years old. We're about to be 26 years old. Like, we need to take more. We need to find that way where we can take leadership from a woman sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
It's a difficult thing. Now,
it is.
I have to push back and not just take too long. I have trouble listening to women because women aren't the women that I grew up with.
That's true.
So the women that I reference the most are the women who didn't mind being meek, who didn't mind supporting, holding the family together. who knew how to love you regardless of your situation.
Yeah.
And I don't see that out of the females.
It's a big
nowadays.
difference. It's a big difference. Like, I mean, and it's in there, it's in them, but it's whether they choose to bring it out. And
I ain't got time to dig through it though.
And I 100% agree with that. You know what I mean? Can understand that.
That's a rough dig.
Yeah, man.
They gotta bring it out in themselves, whether they bring it out with you or the next person or whatever that case may be, or if they never do. You know what I mean? It is a different era of women, just like it is of men.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
For better or worse, however, you know, whatever eye that they see it in.
Yeah, it's
you know what I mean?
It's worse.
But like you know, having more children and just like being younger and things can contribute to it. But if they have that like old school structure, you know what I mean? That's different too. So it's just like we recognize it. They know, we know, you know what I mean? But what is we gonna do about it? And I think that ties back to what we was talking about religion. I think back then our grandmothers and mothers were more in religion. Yeah. And it kinda like for better, not for worse, kinda like structured the household and just changed a lot in the household. And I think that if we believe in ourselves and what we show about each other, that can change everything. Just the same way of how the gun violence and all of that stuff. It's like what we see in ourselves. If we value ourselves, you know what I mean, or ourselves first, you know what I mean, and then we can value somebody else. Because if we hate ourselves, how are you gonna expect us to love somebody else? It's possible, but it's just not likely. Yeah, you know what I mean. And so I think I
don't even really think it's possible because for someone that hate themselves, you have to be telling yourself that you hate yourself. Yeah. And if you telling yourself you hate yourself, all you know is hate. That's it. Because the one person that you gonna believe before you believe anybody else is yourself. Yep. Even if you telling yourself a lie and you know it's a lie, you will find a way to believe that shit.
Everything starts off.
But if all you had was like your mother in your life, and then that's all you heard, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna go for myself, and I'm gonna put myself out there. Like I felt like I had a lot of self-hatred. You know what I mean? But like I love my mom. Like when I lost my mom, I lost my world. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm not like everybody else, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it was just like for me to lose somebody that was the closest person to me. That was the closest person to me. I love my grandma. I love my sister. I love my son. I love everybody. When I lost my mom, I lost everything. You know what I mean? And so just like putting it in perspective, it's just like, you know, if you don't care for at least one person, like it's all the way crazy. I'm like, damn, well at least I care about that. You know what I mean? But you're right though. Like ultimately, like if you don't care about yourself, then you ain't gonna care about nobody. And it came from your pops telling me and teaching me and showing me, like, and reminding me, like, what we come from, like, real greatness, real education, like, showing, like, this is what we was doing. This is what you would have been. Nah, this, you say you wouldn't have been a slave, you wouldn't have been a slave. You would have been like this dude. You would have been that person. Or, you know what I mean? And when you see yourself in something else, that's a whole nother, like, for me, it was a whole nother light. It was a whole nother life. You know what I mean? It was that light at the end of the tunnel that I needed to see because I had just gave up. Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people can relate to, you know, when they get in a space of like hardship, not just incarceration, but just hardship. But I ain't, you know, just wanted to go there real quick. But gotcha.
Yeah, and speaking on like, you know what I mean, entrepreneurship. I want to ask you about your business. What got you into the business that you have, and the chances you took, or some of the challenges you had with being an entrepreneur and starting a business.
I first business, 10 years old, selling lollipops out the book bag. First business. I'm what I guess the term would be serial entrepreneur. It doesn't matter what it is, cleaning toilets, selling food, cutting hair. Like, I'm gonna turn it into a business.
Okay.
I got into business because I got fired from every job I ever had because I just don't like taking orders at the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was always good at what I was doing, but when I feel jealousy or something like that, I feel disrespected. When I feel disrespected, I always would go too far in a situation. So I realized I had to start my own businesses if I wanted to be able to eat. Yeah. Because I wasn't gonna keep a job for long. You know? Yeah. The business I have now is food. I own the Order Up franchise. The Order Up Eatery, Order Up Mobile Food Cart, Order Up Mobile Food and Catering, any of the Order Ups I own that's here in Central Virginia. I got into it because on mine and my wife's first date, after being a married couple, we went on the downtown mall, and a dude that's like my brother now, Catch the Chef, he had the hot dog cart on the downtown mall. And I ended up buying from him. And
man, I should love the joint right there by the bank.
From Rapture. Yep. And we had 2 Italian sausages.
I was talking about that joint the other day.
Yep, 2 Italian sausages, French fries, Dr. Pepper, and a Pepsi. And then he found out that I owned a barbershop in Greene County. And then he was like, man, you should buy one of these hot dog carts. And I was like, yeah. I would always just say, like, yeah, I'm going to buy one. So then he said, man, why don't you hang out with me on Fridays after 5 one day? Well, he made like $1,000 in like an hour and a half. I went home and said, baby, we gotta get us a hot dog cart. I was just talking trash. My wife took her 401k and started making payments to him without me knowing. So I showed up one day, and then just believe it. First person in my world who ever believed in me just from me saying something.
That's dope,
right? Because most people know that I can talk.
Shout
so it's like, you know, he talking shit.
Woman, man.
But she took and she made payments. I went down there to go get something to eat. And he said, man, when you gonna pick this up? I was like, oh yeah, I don't know, man. Let me think about it. He was like, what? What are you talking about? Your wife already bought it. I said, bought what? He was like, she was doing housing for the city of Charlottesville. She was over at Hardy Drive in her office. He said, man, she been making payments for like 6 months. Like, it's your house now. Come pick it up. I shot over there. I was like, man, you bought that hot dog cart? And she was like, I'm so sorry. I thought it was something that we could have as a business together. You know, you already have a business. I want to have a business with you. And I was like, no, you did right. And at that moment, for the first time in my life, I wasn't going to let hell itself stop that business from being successful. Yeah. Like, nothing else mattered. My barbershop didn't matter because I had never had nobody believe in me just for me simply saying I wanted to do something. I was talking trash. That's all. That's all I was doing. But
you spoke into existence.
Spoken into existence. She believed in it, and to the point she invested in it. Right. So then I'm not saying it hasn't been some hard times. I'm not saying it's not being some hard times now.
But you're still there.
Yeah. It has to. It can never fail because of what she gave to bring it to life.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I'm an entrepreneur myself. I know my brother entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? So it's always good to hear like how somebody got started, what was that spark, or what was the situation, somebody believing in you, you know what I'm saying? Because for our viewers, once again, like everybody's path is different. If you have aspirations to do something, if you have aspirations to be something or start something, look for that spark. Opportunities not given. You got to jump up and take them like interceptions.
That's right.
Meek Mill said it the best, man. Like, look out for that spark, and whatever sparks you and gets you moving, like you said, man, it could never fail because of that situation. Be appreciative of your situations that get you somewhere.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't say like, well, I ain't gonna never fail at business, period. If I have to pivot or do whatever, I have to do whatever. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If I have to change the whole format of this or change the format of that, it's gonna have to get changed, but ain't no failure gonna happen. Because I can't let down that person that believed in me or that inspiration I give my son when he see me making clothes and be like, so what you got to do that? That's enough right there for me to never stop.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You feel what I'm saying? To be like,
100%.
You know what I'm saying? To go in there in the morning and see he done put his latest clothes out, he dressing himself and it's some fly shit.
It's going to translate.
You mean I like
that.
You know, I'm cool with that. I'm gonna never buy another T-shirt.
Like,
I'm cool with the fact that if I go in that room and I see my son in later the outfit and it's fly.
Yeah.
Come on now. Like, and we clothe ourselves. That's a whole nother
Yeah, you know, I'm big with
conversation.
that.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like you said, like once you plant some, that seed, it just grow.
It grow,
you know
man.
what I mean? Like I started with clothing and stuff like that, and I'm still into clothing. I love clothing. Me and my bro, we just build, and I love to see him doing it because even when I'm not doing it, I'm doing it.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
feel me?
That's right.
I'm doing it through him. I'm doing it through my son.
That's right.
My son coming through with his line, Treehouse Brotherhood. You know, if y'all ain't cop nothing from him, go ahead and cop something from him.
Fire, you
my
better.
brother. You know what I mean? My boy Swizzy got the clothing, and then my man got the order up. We got Freedom for Felons. We got all of this good stuff for y'all to support us. We got a gun violence prevention showcase coming up in August. You know what I mean? You know, get with us if you really who you say you are and you really want to change, you know, the perception or you just want to
everything.
Yeah,
if you
all
want
of
to
that,
change
like,
anything
come on,
about the way it
we on
is,
it.
if you want to buy from your own and support your own and just be what society really wants you to be, but you taking it wrong.
Exactly.
That's what we supposed to be doing. We supposed to have these platforms. You supposed to have franchises of food for us to eat and eat the food we like and buy from somebody we like that look like us and had the same struggles or maybe not the same struggles. Your struggle different from mine, but it was still relatable to me.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I would love to buy something from you and call Doe Man like, man, I want to shoot a music video. I'm gonna call Doe Man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Media.
I'm so proud in the fact that I can do this and everything that I need to do in my life. I can call somebody that look like me, sound like me, and can relate to me.
Yeah. I also want to say, you know, I'm not from here. I'm what they call a transplant, right? So I'm very thankful for Doe Man and you for the acceptance.
Yeah.
And let me say this real quick because we talked a bit about that. Now I was like, I didn't even bring this to bro, and I was telling them like, so before I heard like, oh, it's like 2 Charlottesvilles. Like I heard that whole conversation, and I could say there's truth in that. You know what I mean? But I can also say like individuals like us, like and I told you like we were out and about. Like we weren't just here. You know what I mean? We was moving around. Like, and a lot of us a lot of us have family members in different places, but a lot of us a lot of people may never left and got out of here or whatever. But that's why I said like everything is meant to be. You just ain't meet the right people at that time. You know what I mean? To really receive you the way that you need to receive. But sometimes you do need that pushback just to make you who you are and have your edge and that you know that razor edge. You know what I mean? And we didn't even ask you where did the name Razor come from too.
I got the story I tell and then I got the truth. All right. The story I tell is I was a barber for many years. My family owned barbershops.
I was thinking that was
the name came from when I had stopped hustling in the street. I'm really good on a motorcycle, so I used to go up and down the East Coast street racing. And I would dress up with muddy boots and coveralls and looking like old country bumpkin. And the race was over the first 10 feet. So that's how I used to pay rent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where, like, I would cut them right at the beginning. So then that's where Razor came from because I was a cash cow for the 1% motorcycle club. So when they would gamble, I would, you know, go to different places and I would street race.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
all transferable. All transferable. That'll come in another conversation. But man, it was everything was organic, like we said, man. Great conversation. Looking forward to having you back. You know what I mean? Because every conversation I have is ongoing. Until it's
that's
not.
a fact.
You know, if it don't make sense, then whatever. But like, I think this was a very good conversation. Appreciate you and
thank you.
Give the people everywhere they can find you at on social, just in case they haven't already.
Yeah, I'm an old country boy, so I would prefer that you come talk to me face to face. You know what I'm saying? You can show up at 233 4th Street, Northwest, where Pearl Island used to be at. That's where the restaurant is. Out on 5th Street Extended. That's where the food truck is. And then, of course, the radio station is behind the Burger King off of 29. Social media, just basic old Facebook, type in any order up or Troy Robinson, and those are me right there. You know what I'm saying? You'll see the picture that I have up there now, I'll keep for a little bit and then take down, was when I won the Tom Town Festival.
Okay.
So then, that was a big win for me, being from the background
Congrats
that I had
on that.
to win that one. And then on top of that, Black Ambition for Rails Company matched the money when I won. Yeah, and that was the first time for that happening.
We're going to go on a whole entrepreneur segment, and we're going to have you back on that.
I'd be honored.
Just touch on that. Yeah. But we wanted to introduce you and your past, and just make everything relevant and relatable to the show, because a lot of people wouldn't know.
Yeah.
A lot of people wouldn't know.
People can't always tell that I've been through what I've been through.
As they shouldn't.
That's a good thing.
As they shouldn't.
Yeah. People like to judge.
Yeah, because it's all about how we show up and show out.
You went through all that shit. I know you crazy.
Man.
Yeah. You'd have been shot. You'd have been in jail for 20 years. I know you a nut. I know you crazy. Nah, baby, I ain't crazy. I just woke up yesterday. You know what I'm saying? You missed the crazy part. I'm regular now.
Check me.
That's what's up, man.
Nah, that's what's up, man. Yep. Another successful episode.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Check us out. Freedom for Felons.
Yes, sir, Ski.
Freedom for my